we heard yesterday about iPhone, the new iPhone coming from Apple. But is that really the best deal for you? Here to talk about is Kelly Grant. Kelly, how you doing?
Good. It's impossible to stop talking about the iPhone.
I know, yes. All this free publicity for
when
Apple.
is the 6 coming out is what everyone really wants to know.
And what will it have?
Exactly.
So you raise an interesting thought of, okay, we now know what's in the 5. We now know how it's going to be priced, which is going to be, along the same lines as the previous versions have been. But maybe people should take a look at the older generations before just immediately jumping into the new one.
It's certainly worth a look if you have, say an older iPhone. I still know people that have the 3GS, they have the 4, and maybe they're looking for something new. And the 4S, the experts tell us, is actually a pretty good bargain. It's a really good phone, and now we're seeing the starting price point for that is now $99. They knocked $100 off that price, and we've seen even some retailers already earlier this summer that were offering it for even a little bit less. Sprint at one point had it for $50 after a $100 mail-in rebate.
Gotcha. And what about the carriers? Are they doing anything to push maybe the older versions, or from a user perspective, would they notice any difference between the new and the old version?
Well, I think really all of the carriers are trying to push the 5, largely because that gets you off of those unlimited plans. We've heard from both Verizon and AT&T saying that basically if you switch, then you're not on that unlimited plan anymore, or you're going to see some throttling there. And we do know that people who are on 4G LTE tend to use more data. So for them, it's really a win if you upgrade all the way.
And we're looking at a graphic that displays what you're talking about with the difference in the price points. And but going back to your point, for the carriers, that's not an insignificant move to get people off of that unlimited plan and onto those tiered pricing plans.
Definitely. They want you to be spending more on data. They know that that's where everything is going. So the sooner they can get you onto the 5, onto any other phone that really forces you into that tier data plan, that's great for them. For the consumer, though, of course, the iPhone 5 it's thinner, it's lighter, it's got the bigger screen, it's got the better battery life. There are a good number of reasons that you might want this new phone, even if you're not just sort of blindly saying, I love everything Apple and I want to upgrade.
Right, and the new wireless network that it runs on, the LTE, will prompt people probably to use more data on that new phone.
The catch, though, of course, is do you live in an area where that's out there right now? 4G LTE is not available nationwide. So as a consumer, if you're updating primarily because you want that faster data network, really pays to look and see what carriers, if any, are offering it in your area. If it's something that's not really available yet, then maybe you just want to hold off on upgrading until that is something that you can fully take advantage of.
Which carriers are farther along with their LTE rollout?
That's always the fight. I mean, we're hearing, Verizon says it's the largest, AT&T says it's the largest, AT&T also says it's the fastest.
Yes.
But the experts say to us, it really just comes down to what's in your area, and that can really vary depending on the carrier.
Wow. And is there any way that people can test the strength of that LTE signal in their area?
Unfortunately, not before you buy the phone, but once you do buy it, most of the carriers do have pretty good ratings that you can say, or return policies rather, so you can test it and then return if not. There are, of course, some sites too, like CNET, BillShrink.com, where they try to gauge it by bars that are available in the area, but frankly, I can tell you from looking at some of these ratings and having the experience of it, sometimes they're not entirely accurate.
And Apple's also unveiling a new operating system, too.
Yes, they are. And that's an advantage for the 4S, actually.
Why is that?
Because a lot of the new features that you're going to see, in terms of the updated iTunes, the enhanced browsing, a lot of those software features are things that are going to be available as an update to the operating system for the 4S. So you're not missing out entirely on that iPhone 5 experience.
Exactly.